That's right.
Season 3, Debate with Bake Sports Show. We coming live from the Mo. You know how we go. We talking basketball, football, and boxing. You got something to say, man? Jump up in them comments. We gon' keep it real with opinions and facts. Let's look at the stats. Well, that settles that. It ain't no hating. We just debating, interviewing guests so we can learn how they operating. Give you our perspective in a way that's captivating. Another sports show to put in your rotation. See, Bake choose the topics, everybody looking. Laro got the commentary and he keep it cooking. Cole with the game, he coming live from Brooklyn. You know, it's the most serious production. We giving game free, so tap in and see. Season 3, DWB, MSC.
Welcome back, man. I gotta thank Chuck for that intro. That intro is so fire. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Debate with Bake, DWB, as they say in the intro. I am your host. That's right, the man with the plan, Debate with Bake himself, C Bake, aka Charles Baker. But you know, on this show, I call myself Debate with Bake, so I'm as known outside here as Charles Baker. But what's up, fam? Welcome back to another most serious production. We are here. Season 3, episode 2. Hit that like and subscribe. Check us out. Your sports center of Most Serious Entertainment. Shout out to my man Chuck, the man that make it go down. Chuck always on the wheels of steels, man. We want to thank Chuck for that intro. We want to thank Chuck for the production. We want to thank Chuck for being the mastermind of this whole Most Serious ship. But we back in it, baby. The sports center of Most Serious Entertainment. Shout out to everybody who's supporting the Most City family, the Most City podcast, Guns Down, Gloves Up with Johnny Bonda and Miss Candace, Dr. Candace Matthews, excuse me. Shout out to them and all the other artists on the Most Serious family. So we here back at it. And let's go out to my man out there in NYC. He represents all 5 boroughs, the man with the plan. The man I've been debating for years. Sometimes I destroy him, and there's a little bit of time that he destroys me. But what's up, Cole? I see you got the NY hat on. It's got to be going down out there. You got the Yankees. You got the Mets. You got the Jets. You got the Giants. You got everybody in NYC. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the man on the right of the screen.
Yes, sir. Third man, Yankees clinched. Neighbors had 2 TDs. The Giants won. The Jets won. The Mets are a few games away from making the playoffs and clinching if we could win this series against Atlanta. And the Knicks is back in about a week and a half. I'm actually going to the first preseason game at home against the Wizards, man. And I bought tickets for the Giannis Bucks game in November.
Okay. So, okay. It's going well. It's. I tell you what, y'all got a lot to be proud of in New York. I was very impressed with the Jets this past week, and I'm not going to hate, man. I'm pulling for the Giants. I think the Giants are playing the Cowboys this week on Thursday. So shout out to NY, man. Shout out to my man Cole, man. Been rocking with me for years, and we keep this going with these debates. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. And to my left, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, you know I got to bring him in. This is the comic relief of DWB. This is my man. You know, I call him he's a great debater, but he also keeps the show light and funny. But to my left, the man, Laro Roski, man. What's up? What's going on with you, Ro?
Man, not too much, man. Real pleased to be back in the building, face to face. Got to get it going. And I got a lot to talk about.
That's right. That's the comic relief of DWB. Shout out to my man, Ro, going all the way to Third Ward, Texas. Over here to Most City with us. Ro representing Houston with the Astros hat, with the, yes, I will say Oilers colors. But shout out to everybody. Hit that like and subscribe to DWB before we get into it. Let's go to my man Chuck for what? Fantasy. Chuck, get us going. We got 2 NFL games tonight. Talk to us, Chuck, man. Let's make some money.
So y'all know what it is, man. Another week, another episode, Debate with Bake. Let's get into it. Let's talk about these quarterbacks.
Let's go. Who we got tonight, Chuck? What's the first game?
On the screen. Chill.
Make sure you hit your like and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen.
So game one that start in like 15 minutes is Buffalo versus Jacksonville.
Okay.
Right? Buffalo versus Jacksonville. And so if we're looking at QBs, that's gonna be Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's look at Josh Allen first.
Quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, ladies and gentlemen.
I say Hyatt with the passing yards.
Yeah, with the passing yards or the 1.5 touchdowns.
With the passing yards and the 1.5 touchdowns. I think he has to.
I agree. I think I'm suspect on over 200 passing yards though, just because he's been getting picked. I'm confident on the 1.5 touchdowns though. I think he would get at least 2.
I mean, I think he has to for them to win. You know, they don't have much over there. I think he's got to play out of his mind every week. I mean, that's the way they got it set up in Buffalo. But I don't know. I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards Cole, Chuck, because I feel like he got to have a monster game for them to win. I mean, he gonna turn the ball over, but he got to do a lot.
So y'all think that he'll have more than 237 passing yards before he have 2 touchdowns?
I ain't say all that, but you know what I'm saying. Let me ask you,
Or do you think he's gonna have lower than 200?
I don't know. Hold on. Where are they at? Are they in Buffalo? Or
Yeah, in Buffalo.
Yeah, they're in Buffalo.
Man, bro, what you think?
I still don't
You don't like it?
237. Not 237.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's when I'm leaning towards the 2 touchdowns.
What you think, Cole?
I got him doing it because he's a gunslinger though. Like even if he ends up,
He is Favre, yes. He is like Favre, but I mean, listen, do we do the majority?
Yeah.
Majority pick, ladies and gentlemen, what you think? Do we stay safe with Chuck or do we go all out with Cole?
I'm gonna stay safe.
he's averaging. He's averaging 185 a game though.
We stay safe.
He's been averaging 185 a game.
185 a game, but I think that's just the start of the season.
I mean, majority rules, Cole. I get what you're saying.
works.
What you're saying, but let's go majority rules. Go ahead, Chuck. Put that in for us.
Yeah, so we got that. So let's look at what y'all think about Trevor Lawrence.
Man, I am not sold on Trevor Lawrence. I think like he's lost his last 5, 6, 7 games. Starts?
Yeah, I think he's good for 1 interception.
Definitely.
No, I think definitely yes.
He'll turn the ball
Definitely.
over. He'll turn the ball over.
Definitely.
I think that's a safe bet too.
Yeah, definitely.
We're gonna bet on him to throw a pick. All right, let's look at Joe Cool, man.
Is that the second game?
That second game, Cincinnati at Washington.
Okay, cool. Yes.
No, Cincinnati versus Washington. So they in Cincinnati.
Okay, even better for me on Joe Cool. What you got?
No, let's see here. You think he's gonna have? No, I don't think so.
Nah, just go ahead and say it. What you got?
Think he's gonna have more than 35 passing attempts? You think he'll have more than 24 completions?
No.
No, not the completions. Now, passing attempts, maybe, because I'm gonna tell you this, and it surprised me now that I'm actually paying attention to Joe Mixon here.
Mm-hmm.
They do pass the ball a lot because I'm sitting here watching the Texans, and even though Mixon didn't play yesterday, I'm going off the other games. It's like, how is it they weren't using him that much in Cincinnati? So they are throwing the ball. They got T. Higgins. They got the other kid. Yeah. So I might be in on the attempts. I don't see them running the ball much.
And who's the back? Like Mouse, Zach Mouse or something?
I don't even know who the back is. Cole, what you think about that? You think I think he got to throw a lot. I think he is going to throw a lot. I know it's like 35 attempts though. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. I
think his completion percentage would be less than 70%.
You think so?
I say his completion percentage would be less than 70.
I think so too. I see that stat on here as well. I'm gonna go lower.
That's a safe bet. Yeah, definitely that. Because if he gets over it's lower than 70. If he gets over that, nobody's got that. You know what I'm saying? That's a blowout game for Burrow.
Last quarterback of the night is Jaden Daniels for Washington.
No kid.
Yeah, and I see. I don't know why I'm so optimistic about this kid, man. You know,
I say he has 19 completions. Because there's gonna be a lot of checkdowns.
But it's the Commanders.
I think he good for 1 pick.
I don't know because he's pretty good with the ball.
And he uses his feet. He moves around a little bit. I like you said 18 completions.
18. It says 19. He'll have to get 19 to 18.5. But
So
I
do
can,
we want to go with the 19 completions or we want to go with the one pick? I see where Chuck coming from. I do see where Chuck coming from, but we don't know. Do we know much about Cincy
Against
defense?
Cincinnati? Nah, I mean, think about it.
We don't know much about their
New
defense.
England made them look bad.
They
You know what I'm saying?
did.
New
They
England made them boys
They
look
did.
bad.
They did. They
All right,
did.
then y'all want to roll with Cole's
against-
completions?
they played against
Yeah,
KC,
go
bro.
with the 19 completion.
All right, Cole, we're gonna roll with yours with the completions.
All right.
All right, so we locking those in.
Yep.
All right, I feel good about that. I feel very, very positive about that. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Go to moserious.com to check us out. Hey, Underdog Fantasy, you need to get us. You need to get at us, man. We are making picks
Yeah, y'all see it?
and we making money. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Shout out to my man Chuck for hooking us up with Underdog Fantasy. Shout out to Cole and Roski, man, for making these safe bets. All right. Are we locked in, Chuck?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We locked in. All right, let's get it, man. We got current news. And I picked this topic. I know people might not like this topic, but I've been telling Cole this. This is my favorite player in the WNBA. I love this chick, man. You know, I was telling my daughter about this chick before we got on air. But congratulations to Las Vegas forward Aja Wilson. If I messed up your name, I apologize for securing her third MVP player award. All right. Now, Chuck got a little clip for us to go in the locker room just to kind of see how she was celebrating with her teammates, which is the Las Vegas Aces. Shout out to the Las Vegas Aces. I am pulling for you guys. You are my pick to win the WNBA championship once again. But Chuck, if you're ready, you can show that career and then we can get into a little bit of her career. And let's talk a little bit about GOAT debate with her. Let's hit it, man. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. Go to moserious.com and check us out, man.
It's for Asia. Hold on. Oh, this is something. All right, go ahead.
All right. Do we have someone named Asia Wilson in the house tonight?
Yes.
Hi, Asia. So, Asia, we have to stop meeting like this. If I think back to 2020 in the bubble, I walked into that room and handed you the MVP trophy. And guess what? You are the 2024.
It's honestly crazy how this all worked, because this morning I was really thinking about what I could do for you guys. So that's when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write letters or just things to you guys individually. And I guess God wants me to share with you guys in person. Sydney! I don't think I've ever got a
We don't go through all of it, but I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
I thought that was dope how they did it.
Yeah. And it looks like she was getting ready to go one by one with her teammates to give thanks. So shout out to her for that. But man, congratulations to her. This is her third MVP trophy, man. And let me just run down her resume a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, so I can make my case for her to enter the GOAT conversation. Okay, her resume includes the following. This is not everything. This is just for DWB for tonight. 2-time WNBA champ, 1-time finals MVP, 3-time MVP, like we just mentioned, 2-time, this stuck out to me, defensive player of the year, 6-time All-Star, 4-time All-WNBA, 2-time Olympic gold medalist. She's got Olympic Most Valuable Player Award, which I did not know they did that. 2018, of course, Rookie of the Year. She's an NCAA champion. I believe she was at South Carolina. Don't quote me on that, but I believe she did play for South Carolina. She's one of the 2 unanimous MVPs in WNBA history. Check this out. Most points in a single season in WNBA history, most rebounds in a single season in WNBA history. Only WNBA player to score 1,000+ points in a season. Now, here's the thing. And shout out to Cole. I'm always getting on Cole because Cole is riding the Magic and Bird thing with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And I respect that about Cole, but this is what I mean when I talk about this young lady, and there's a few more who I think we should also give homage to. But here's the thing. That's on the floor for me, my case for her being the GOAT. Now, there's always Tarazzi, there's always other players, but the way she's doing it, I can appreciate the way Wilson is doing it. The things that stick out for me because this is subjective now, ladies and gentlemen. But I love the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. You know, it kind of gives me the Jordan vibe in terms of MVP. It gives me the Elijah One vibe in terms of MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. And here's the thing. Just a quick recap of what's going on this season. This is a historic season for her. But she signed with Gatorade. She scored, like we mentioned before, 1,021 points. She won an Olympic gold medal. She's unveiled on the cover of NBA 2K25. Okay. Of course, she's a 6-time All-Star, but check this out. And we celebrate this with the men. Announced her own Nike signature deal, shoe deal with Nike. And now she's the unanimous MVP. So to me, it's not even just about her resume, what I just read off the court. And I'm not sure if I read everything, but look at what she's doing. I mean, it's Gatorade. It's, you know, on the cover of NBA 2K25, you know, and then she's got her own Nike signature shoe. So for me, when I think about that, and I start talking about the greatest of all time, I think she's got a case. Now, Ro, what do you think? Let me ask you that, because she's one of my favorite players and I'm biased. But just looking at her resume, both on and off the floor, what do you think? Does she have a legit case for being the GOAT?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's the perfect storm and the perfect situation really for the league between you and Cole's takes on them both, really, because the buzz and the media frenzy that the two youngsters, the two young guns are pulling up for the league. What better a face to place with the organization than Queen Asia? You know,
that's right. I like that face. I like the face. I didn't even think about the face of the WNBA.
She's really,
okay,
like killing it. Because I mean, as far as the GOAT conversation goes, I'm biased. I can't lie, because that's like the best was Cynthia Cooper Dyke or whatever she's calling herself.
That's clear. That's the H-Town bias.
Clear.
That's the H-Town bias.
Present day, I mean, you can't anything but tip your hat to what she's doing and what she's accomplished, because I mean, hey, they want to be like Asia, and they're like these little girls out here. They have a perfect model citizen. I mean, she's a worker. Her work ethic, the work she's putting in, the grace and style that she does it with. The shoes are clean too. It's for the culture. It's like, hey man, Asia is killing the game right now. So she's definitely going to. More deserving of any GOAT talk that might be, surpassed Taurasi, surpassed Bird, surpassed any of the others. So she's the queen of the league.
Cole, what you think, man? Does she have a case for the GOAT conversation? I like what Rose said in terms of her being the face right now. I mean, people could challenge the face with the two youngsters coming in. They can challenge Asia being the face, because when we talk about the face is what the fans know. And Cole, to your point, it could be Clark or Reese, what they're bringing. But in terms of the GOAT conversation, Cole, does she have a case?
I think she has a case, but I will go with Laro and say that for me, when I started watching, I saw Cynthia Cooper. And the crazy thing about seeing Cynthia Cooper was seeing her at that tail end of her career, where she was almost 40, and even at 40, averaging the points she was averaging and doing what she was doing. Imagine if the NBA was around a lot sooner, the WNBA, when she was younger. But I will say she does have a case based off all her accolades. I don't see a problem with her being the GOAT. It's just like it went from Jordan to LeBron. I could see it going from Cynthia Cooper to Aja, and then eventually one day, maybe Caitlin or Reese. You never know. But right now, I will say that she's earned it. She deserves it, and you won't get no arguments from me with that.
Right. Let me ask y'all this, because y'all both brought up a good point, and I think we're biased because our age. Cynthia Cooper was, in fact, my favorite player when I first started watching the WNBA. I am biased to the city of Houston, but I did think she was the best in terms of what she was doing. Is there anybody else in that conversation other than Cooper, Wilson, for you guys? Give me two more if you can. Let's start with you, Cole. Two more that you think can be in that conversation other than Cooper and other than Wilson that, could spark a good conversation. Because I'm thinking one day maybe we have that conversation. Maybe we break down stats and we go 4 or 5 who we think is the GOAT. Give me two, Cole.
I would say Taurasi. I would say maybe Lisa Leslie, or even Candace Parker for a little while. When she was around, she was dominant.
Ro, what you think? Give me two more.
Yeah, maybe I'd throw a Tamika Catchings or somebody out there, or maybe what's the other little chick? Simone Augustus was nice. Right, not GOAT nice, but she had a couple seasons.
Yeah, conversation. So,
Yeah, because it's like I'm following them loosely from then on. I mean, from this point on, one of the biggest tragedies of the league was the death of the Comets, man. And it's like I don't know how.
Yeah.
You missed the inaugural, 3-4 time champ.
Yeah, we got to be in there as far as one of the best franchises here in Houston. Shout out to the Houston Comets. Let's bring them back, man. Let's bring them back. Rockets, if you're listening, man, let's get them back in town. We definitely got a nice coach.
So he's
here.
working on it.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fertitta. Yeah,
Okay.
Fertitta working
Okay.
on it. He's the challenge is they bringing in 3 new expansions.
Okay, so we trying to get one of those spots.
Yeah,
okay.
they bringing in
okay.
3 new expansions already for starting next season.
Okay, shout out to my man Fertitta,
yeah.
man. I might have to call him Mr. H-Town after a while, man.
He put in the bid for the expansion team and then turned around and bought the rights to all the old Comets branding.
Perfect. Shout out to my man Fertitta, man. Making it big over there in U of H and making the Rockets relevant again. All right, shout out to him. I hope he gets that done with the Comets. But just to add my 2 cents, if I got to add 2 more, and we'll move on with this subject, I want to throw in the chick that kind of she got out early. That's Maya Moore. I think shout out to her for signing with Team Jordan. I think she was on the way to being GOAT. But she chased her heart with I think it was a philanthropy work with the prison system. So shout out to her. And I'm going to throw in Candace Parker as well. I feel like she's revolutionized the game in terms of her being able to, first of all, she lasted a long time and she played multiple positions. And Candace was just nice. And then what she's doing now off the court with commentating. So shout out to Candace Parker. That's my 2 picks. And we will get into that topic one day because I think it's worth talking about. Hopefully we can get Shayla back on and get some females in here too to talk about that. Who is the greatest of all time in the WNBA? But with that being said, let's move on. Chuck, let's get to a sponsor segment and then we'll come back into it and we'll get right into the NFL. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe for Debate with Bake podcast on MoSerious.com. Let's hit it, Chuck.
Yo, rep the movement with Mo Serious Fashions. Copy your fresh snapback or hoodie or a tee. All representing the Mo City podcast, Debate with Bake, or Gloves Up, Guns Down. Everything is custom made with love from our top-notch manufacturers. We got a dope range of colors and sizes to fit your vibe. Everything from blue, red, green, black, white, and more. Rep the Mo and keep it fresh, fam. Hit up MoSerious.com/merchandise and order today. Let's go.
Men's Fragrance, your home for 100% authentic men's cologne. We carry high-end fragrances like Creed, YSL, Gucci, Polo, and more with below retail prices. All orders come with free shipping. Order online at mens-fragrance.net. Men's Fragrance. Smell good for less.
All right, that's good. Shout out to MoSerious.com. You can go in there and check out your merch as well as your fragrance if you like to smell good. I can't wear that because I sweat too much, but it is good for those of you all who can put that on and don't sweat as much. But check it all out on MoSerious.com. And shout out to the Mo Serious family. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen, for Debate with Bake and the Mo Serious family. All right, we here. We love it. We love it. The NFL season. We got some topics we want to get to. First and foremost, and I kind of wanted this to happen, but I love both guys. But I was wondering this about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was wondering this with Russell being out, and I had a feeling that Fields could get off to a great start. But Big Ben Roethlisberger, the former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, added this following statement, and I thought it was a good topic for us to talk about, fellas, because I worried about it. But Big Ben says, regarding the Steelers quarterback situation with Russell Wilson coming back from injury, and they haven't said specifically when he's getting back, but they know he's coming back. Big Ben adds the following quote: "If Russ is healthy, I'm sticking with Justin. That is Justin Fields. The Steelers are now 3-0 with Fields at the quarterback." My question to the panel and my co-host and to you out there in the audience, and you can You can comment in the chat on this. I'd like to get everybody's opinion on this. But if Wilson comes back, do you stick with Fields? Do you stick with the momentum? And, Fields had a great day yesterday. Steelers won 20-10 over the Los Angeles Chargers, which is a solid win. But let's start with you, Cole, because I always wonder this about in the NFL. I always wonder this. This is one of the challenges of coaching. You name your guy, okay, which is the older guy. You go with him. He gets hurt. Your team gets off to a terrific start, 3-0. Now, that's probably not that surprising being in Pittsburgh, being that they're one of the more winning franchises of NFL history. But I always wonder this, and this is one of the things that I always would worry about as far as coaching. With the momentum that the Steelers has now, if Russ comes back, Cole, what do you do? Do you stick with the young kid or do you go to your veteran? Talk to us, Cole.
I think you stick with the young kid. I think that he's already won them over. Winning games in the NFL is one of the hardest things to do. So he's 3-0. I think even up to last season, he started to play pretty good in Chicago. So I think you just ride the wave. If he loses, let's say 2 to 3 games in a row, then I think you make the switch to Wilson. It gives you a reason to make the switch if that's something that the coach really wants to do. But right now, I think you have to ride with Fields. I think he's playing excellent ball. I think he's protecting the ball. He's not throwing it away. And his accuracy has improved. I think that the more and more he gets comfortable with this offense, it'll open up a little bit more. And I think you'll see a little bit more of him. He won't be no Lamar Jackson or anything like that. But I think they're still a viable playoff team. I still think they're a top 5 in the AFC. That defense travels. And I think that he has a dimension that Wilson can't add with the option running in the RPO play. So,
I mean, what do you think, Ro? What do you think about this? Because it's a big topic for me. And let me just say this, because at the end of the day, let's also, and Cole broke it down beautifully for his opinion, but hit that like and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. You can tap into the chat with us if you want to get in on this topic. But think about this before you answer, Ro, because here's the thing. You got 2 starting quarterbacks, one that's a veteran, one that has won a Super Bowl, one that has been to 2 Super Bowls. You got a kid that, well, most of us or some of us believe that in Chicago, they didn't put around him what they needed to put around. Now he's winning. Now he's showing us what he was capable of in Chicago. And now it looks like he's doing it. It looks like it's just 3 games. We're not even halfway through the season, but you got momentum. You got a young kid. And some people say, Cole didn't say this, but this goes to Cole's point. Some people say, you know what? That was your future anyway. If your future's looking good, why sit him down? But what you think, Ro?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. You have to ride the wave with the youngster because it is difficult to win. However, I feel like you definitely owe Russell at least some cleanup time. You know what I'm saying? Like if he starts playing real well, you have to integrate Russell because this is a contract year for him really in terms of the economics of it. They signed him for the year. They got to get something out of the deal. And then, like you say, he's got the experience in his cap. He's got 1 down, been a 2. It ought to be pretty seamless. Because eventually, week to week, somebody's going to bring a package that's going to give Justin some trouble. You know what I'm saying? It's inevitable, really. So I think you ride with it for now, but your contingency is really giving Russ the luxury to become all the way healthy before you integrate him back in and have anything really to decide on,
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that too, because you got to understand this too. If you Russell Wilson, everybody knows he's a good guy. He's probably going to do the Steelers a favor and say, you know what, let the kid play. But at the end of the day, you did bring Russ in to win a Super Bowl right now. You were already a playoff team before he got there. Thanks to the coaching of Mike Tomlin and that organization. That is a first-class organization. But you did bring Russell Wilson in to win a Super Bowl. And that is your expectations as a historic franchise. You limped your way into the playoffs. Like Tomlin is one of the more winningest coaches in NFL history. They always get to the playoffs. And so you brought Russell Wilson in to win a Super Bowl. Plain and simple. And you have built this team. This team is positioned to contend for a Super Bowl out of the AFC North, which is a tough division. So, it's a worthy topic because at the end of the day, you plan on contending for a Super Bowl in Pittsburgh. Now you don't know. You think Fields will eventually get there, and I'm just speaking on what I think is being discussed in Pittsburgh. I could be wrong, but you know you want Fields to be your future. So, but you brought Russell Wilson in to win a NFL championship. But go ahead, Cole.
I think they know Fields is the future, and I think the future can be now. I think a smart play by them would be to trade Wilson to a team like Miami, get a first or second round pick, and continue to build and give him pieces and bring in a superstar receiver from college for next year. Because
if you think Fields is the guy, if Fields continue to show you that he's that guy.
I think we already believe it anyway. I think Wilson is just for this year and this year alone, just because they didn't know what Fields was going to be.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you think Fields is the guy, I mean, we got a small case study here, 3 games. But I agree with you, Cole. But if let's say they leave him in there and they go 5-2, 6-1, 7-0, and if you think he's that guy, I'm with you, Cole. I'm with you. I think you have to get the future ahead. And if you think Fields is that guy and he shows it within that time frame, yes, I'm with you.
That San Francisco team that went to the Super Bowl with Kaepernick that time, it was a similar situation, seemed like, with Alex Smith. And I believe their mistake was rocking the boat and going on with the new guy. Maybe
Right.
I don't quite recall, but yeah, I mean, he gets on a run. He's definitely the future. He's coming along better and faster than anticipated is the issue that they've got going on. So it's like, yeah, you rock with it, but at the end of the day, it's kind of a toss-up because you have to get, I mean, and we will see week to week. And practice every week. We'll see week to week once he's healthy.
Right. Because one could argue for Cole's point, and then we'll move on. One could argue this for Fields. Fields has already been the guy. He just wasn't with the right team.
True.
You know, some people could say he is ready now. It's just that he didn't have the pieces around him in Chicago, but we'll see. All right, let's get to your topic, Cole, because you've been screaming this, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's starting to look that way. Should the Cleveland Browns bench Deshaun Watson? Let's start with you, Cole.
I was looking at his stats earlier. I took a screenshot, but I will say there's several quarterbacks doing way better than him. Like, granted, he's been sacked 18 times. Baker Mayfield's been sacked 16 times. Baker Mayfield, I think, threw for 6 TDs already or something along that lines. And what's his name threw for, I want to say it was 4 or 2. I can't remember.
And you just had to bring the comparison. We talking about Deshaun Watson.
We are talking about Deshaun Watson.
Got in, but go ahead.
Stats. Let me finish my stats. I have mentioned that there's like a dozen quarterbacks putting up better numbers than him, and they're not winning. And he hasn't looked good since last year, man. Not even last year. Like I told you, since he's came back, he might have had like 1 or 2 games. I wasn't hating. I have Sunday Ticket because I'm in all those NFL League Pass because I gamble a lot on these FanDuels. And he lost me a lot of money a few times, so I stopped betting on him anyway. So he's to me, I think it's
listen, and I know you've been advocating for it, man. I know you've been advocating, but you know what? To your credit, man, you know, it's starting to look like that because I thought about it too, and I'm like, I'm biased because I was in Houston and I saw how great he did, but it's like if you're in Cleveland, what have you done for me lately? And I'm like, you know what? Cole might have a point, but Ro, what do you think? Do you think Cleveland should they be considering? Now, take this in consideration. He was hurt last year, coming off the situation from Houston. And we only 3 games in. But I do understand where people come from when they side with Cole. If you in Cleveland, because here's the thing. Last year, Cleveland overachieved. So you know the expectation level has got to be playoffs. Right. So what do you think, Ro?
I'm gonna go against the popular opinion, man. Nah, you can't bench him quite yet. He didn't look that bad against New York the other day. You know what I'm saying? It really wasn't his fault. And I mean, you throw him in there with the Caleb train. It's like Chicago Bears and Cleveland right now probably have the 2 worst O-lines in pro football.
That's a valid point.
The injuries are racking up, and he hadn't had the benefit of playing with those monsters in the backfield either. He hadn't really paired up with Chubb.
That running game just disappeared. Right.
It's like I stick with him because I can't solely put the blame on him. The Cleveland would probably be 0-3 anyway, regardless. But I mean, he draws a lot of the attention, and the Cowboy game was a real eye opener. You know, a couple of weeks ago, where it was like, well, wait a minute, he's really not getting off or coming along well at all.
Right.
And I think if it's a matter of regression, if he's really just in a slump and in a funk, maybe. But you bench him. Who's the backup?
And then let me ask this question on top of that. That's a good point. Like, have we seen him in his prime? Is his prime done? Has he made his prime yet?
It's looking that way. I mean, like I said, the Giant game wasn't as bad as he had been this year. I mean, granted, we got a small
He's slightly
sample size.
improved, right?
That looked a little better. You know, he looked a little bit. He didn't turn the ball over. I mean, he's still second guessed. I think he might have thrown around 70% completion. So.
Yeah, so that's definitely. But go ahead, Cole. But that's definitely an improvement to your point,
so.
bro.
Let me say this: for what we paid you, we're not paying for you to be the middle of the mill quarterback. That's one. Number two, you haven't built up enough equity with the Cleveland Browns for us to even be dealing with your off-court, off-field issues. Is another reason why I'm thinking that maybe it's time to depart from the guy. He's not playing.
Yeah, but hold on, wait, Cole. That's not fair though. Hold on. Let's stay with the off-field issues because here's the thing. You knew. I'm pretty sure Cleveland knew that some things would come out of the closet. Like they knew that more things could come. Like these could be things that just from last year when they got him. They were aware of that. Like that's not fair to say. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm fine with that. I'm fine with hearing stuff. If you're playing good play eliminates that. People ain't gonna be mad. But when you're playing bad, it only amplifies the bad play because now we're dealing with your off the field crap. Plus, you're not playing good for us. Why deal with that?
I hear you. It's a legit concern. I just think it's too early. It's 3 games in. Of course, to combat what I'm saying, to kind of agree with what you're saying, they do have high expectations for that team.
They signed Cam Newton, maybe they can bench him. Put it like that. I mean, I just don't know who else out there. I mean, you're saying Cam Newton. Cam Newton, I got to look at Cleveland, Carolina.
I mean, that's a good point. If you bench Watson, who? Ain't no Baker Mayfield back there to back him up.
Bring Flacco back. Like I just think that it's too much for you, for us to be paying you all this money, giving you a chance, for you not to be playing well, for this stuff to be coming back out. It's bringing bad. Huh?
It's a good point. But like Rose say, who do you put in? That's a good point, though. You got a good point. That's why I brought this topic to the table, because if you are in Cleveland, you got to wonder, how long are we going to do this?
I say it's a win-win situation for teams right now that if your quarterback messes up, there's a whole bunch of good ones coming out of college. They could reset their organization with that.
I got you.
So
I mean, it's a good point.
Pittsburgh's in the driving seat in that division then, right? Pittsburgh undefeated.
Yeah, for now. Yeah, they probably win that. I mean, we don't know what Baltimore is, but we'll find out. All right, let me ask y'all this. Let's stay on the quarterback subject. Which quarterback start right now, meaning 2024, has been more surprising, Sam Darnold or David Carr? Let's start with you, Ro. Who is more surprising to you within the first 3 games out of these 2 quarterbacks? So let's stick with these 2.
I got to go with that monster up there in Minnesota, man. That kid, hey, man, like it wasn't especially flashy for what they did. I mean, because the defense more so was what where the rubber meet the road in our game, man. That defense, that tops defense statistically in the league. They really.
And I told Chuck this. I don't mean to cut you off. I told Chuck this before we got on the air. I told everybody the NFC North low key might be the best conference, because I told people that the Texans weren't going to run through the Bears like they thought. You got them in Green Bay and Detroit. That is a competitive conference. But go ahead, Ro. Finish. I don't mean to cut you off.
No. Yeah, but the reemergence of Sam. I mean, the Jets. Am I correct? The Jets drafted him.
Yeah, and that's why I'm anxious. After you finish, I'm anxious to hear what Cole's saying, because Cole was a big critic of Darnell while he was in New York.
That was Darnold, then Zach Wilson, or Zach, whatever the kid's name was. Now I finally get to where they're going. Yeah, I got to say that, because I mean, nobody is surprised other than David Carr has been the better of the 2. Oh man, matter of fact, that bum ain't played in a minute. That's the Texan bum. Derek Carr. That's the little brother.
I put David or I put David? Okay, Lord have mercy, not David. Derek Carr. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
Derek Carr in New Orleans is not as surprising. It's definitely noteworthy, but it's not as surprising.
That's Sam Darnold.
I think that's Sam Darnold and them Vikings and Purple People leaders, man.
Yeah. What you think, Cole? Because I know you're a big Darnell critic.
I think when I look at Carr reminds me of Phillip Rivers. Like, all the talent in the world, but will never get you to the Super Bowl.
Darnell, why? Tell us.
I just think he just doesn't show up in the big moments.
Okay.
Like, I think he beats all the teams you're supposed to be, competitive against all the great ones. Will even beat a couple of great ones, but I don't think he can consistently take you through playoff game to playoff game to beat the great ones.
So you saying that Darnell is the more.
And I will tell you why. I feel like early in Darnold's career, I was a hater. The reason why I was a hater, though, is because I was a Geno Geno Smith fan. And I felt like Geno got the
Right,
bad end of the stick.
right.
So it made me not like him as much as possible. But at the same time, he was also at the Jets organization where we didn't do a good job of actually, cultivating a atmosphere where quarterbacks can grow. We had different coordinators, different coaches, and we didn't build a team the right way. So I think when it comes to Darnold, I always seen the talent.
Right.
He was better than Zach. He was better than Zach Wilson when we got Zach Wilson.
And credit to you, you have even said that on this podcast that you did think that Darnell was talented. You just think he underachieved in New York. You did say that. I will give you that. You never said the guy was trash or anything like that. You just felt like he underachieved. But go ahead.
And there was moments of before Purdy became Purdy. Like there was moments I thought that he had a potential of really taking that job, because I feel like when you're a quarterback, there's two offensive coordinators you absolutely want to play for. You want to play for, offensive coaches is you want to play for my man in with the 49ers, and you want to play with Green Bay. I think the way that they call the game for any quarterback makes you, I guess it builds your confidence as a quarterback and teaches you how to actually play the role of a quarterback. And I think that's what he learned when playing in San Francisco, was how to be a quarterback. And now that he's in Minnesota, which I felt like was the perfect place for him after the rookie got injured, because now I don't know if that rookie can even come back next year if Darnold plays like this and they could give him the job.
And just to add to that, I want to get that out before I forget, because I have been impressed when I watched them play my Texans yesterday. I love the way Minnesota is using him. Okay. They're not putting a lot of pressure on him to make big plays, but they do have a big play receiver on the outside with Jefferson. So they are encouraging him to use that big arm, meaning Darnell, to stretch, but they're not asking him to make a great play every play. They've got a solid running game. They're doing a lot of dink and dunk passes with him that's building his confidence, and they've got a rock solid defense. And that's what I mean about organizations. I gotta get a shout out to Rose's point. I'm impressed with the Vikings. The Vikings have been a playoff team, even with Cousins. They just hadn't been able to get over the hump. But what I saw yesterday, how they played, and I'm a little biased to the Texans. Shout out to them the way they're using Darnell. They're not putting too much pressure on him. They're making simple plays for him to make short, compact passes to get first downs. But they got a solid running game, and they got a big weapon on the outside that they encourage him to get the ball to. But they compliment him with a well-oiled machine on the defensive side. So shout out to the Vikings. I think they've done a great job. And he is, just to agree with both of y'all, my more surprising pick than Derek Carr. I agree with Cole on that. I don't know if Derek Carr, I think he's a regular season guy. I don't see him doing anything in the playoffs. I was messing with you a little bit, Cole, but I agree with you 100%. He's had too many weapons and too many things. I mean, to his credit, in Vegas, they didn't do much for him. He had 1,000 offensive coordinators, but at the end of the day, I just can't see him. It's kind of Dak-ish in terms of the playoffs, so I don't know. All right, let's get to this next topic. We don't have that much time, but here's the thing. We got to talk about this because this is a big thing in the NFL right now in terms of the Carolina Panthers. Now, the question is for this topic, do you agree with the Carolina Panthers benching Bryce Young? Now, this story has gotten a lot of press, ladies and gentlemen. I think Nick Saban, who is his former coach at Alabama, kind of criticized Carolina in terms of saying that, and I'm paraphrasing, that they're not putting things around him that he needs to be successful. Now, I asked this question because I've looked up a little bit of research, some important notes to consider when you're talking about Carolina. Did they do the right thing by benching him? If you're against him being benched, check this out. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, two quarterbacks we just talked about, since leaving Carolina, they've gotten better. Both of them and this is not including week 3's numbers, but the total together, Mayfield and Darnold, they have 46 TDs and 14 INTs. Now, when they were with Carolina, compared those two quarterbacks in particular, Mayfield and Darnold, when they were with Carolina, they had 22 TDs and 19 interceptions. Now, that's if you're against them benching Bryce Young. If you're for, meaning that you support Carolina benching him, look what Dalton did yesterday. I mean, whether you want to agree with it or not, and we're talking about Andy Dalton, that redhead from Texas that was promising in Cincinnati at one point. But see, some people who are for the benching says, look, Young this season, meaning Bryce Young has 0 TDs. Andy Dalton yesterday in one half had 3 TDs. So, and I'm going to start with you, Ro. And Chuck, you can jump in this too, of course. Chuck, you can always jump in, but let's start with you, Ro. Do you agree with the Panthers benching Bryce Young, or are you against it? And tell us why.
Oh man, no, I'm totally with it. I'm totally with it. The kid has gotten a lot of, he came highly anticipated, albeit the situation not being ideal in Carolina with the coordinators, coaches, ownership in flux. But the buck has to stop somewhere, and that's really the same situation that you have an old Deshaun in. It's like, hey, look, this you have to light a fire under the kid one way or another.
Right.
I mean, he's been in the media saying he didn't like it, he doesn't appreciate it. All that understood. However, with Dalton giving you instant gratification like that,
I mean, 3 touchdowns in the first half.
I love the Red Rocket, but he wasn't setting the world on fire either. I mean, for him to step into this situation and immediately right the ship just on some veteran wily know-how.
So give me a hand clap for the Red Rocket comment, man. Oh man, go ahead.
Like, he's researching. I guarantee you he gets another job after this. Put it like that. It's like that was a career-defining moment. I can't recall seeing Andy Dalton look so good.
It is almost like Flacco-ish from the Browns last year, right?
Oh, yeah.
He might get comeback player of the year. All right, I'm getting a little further ahead of myself, but he looked good.
He's going to end up in Miami. He's going to get to his old job or something.
Oh, man. Cole, do you agree with Carolina benching Bryce Young, or are you against it? Tell us why. Which way you go?
I have absolutely no problem with it.
At least you're consistent. I give you that.
I will say,
Watson, go ahead.
I will say he was giving me flashbacks to Zach Wilson watching him. I tried to watch a couple of the games.
Chuck, let me get a hand cap for that.
Yo, I am so serious, man. I was watching a couple of games. The passes that he was missing and the passes that he would throw, even ones that weren't interceptions that should have been interceptions. I'm like, what's in his mind? What's in his head? Like, what's he thinking? And I also think you owe it to the players in the locker room. These people are trying to play for food, to put food on the table, to have long careers and stuff like that. And, like, you can't sacrifice everyone's career just for one person who hasn't shown you that they can be good. Because even last year, he wasn't that good, and I think that, we pass it up and say, okay, he's a rookie. But this is your second year. You had a full offseason. You should be. They brought in a quarterback guru, I guess, in Canales or whatever his name is, in the coach. And to me, I just didn't see it. And honestly, I think sitting behind Dalton and learning and having that fire lit under him, hopefully it helps him.
And you know what? Just to add to that,
all the quarterbacks in that draft, think about it, CJ Richardson, it was a lot of quarterbacks in that draft.
And you took that right out of my mouth because I was about to say that. It's like, to both of y'all's point, I think Cole put it best. I'm not seeing any improvement from year 1 to year 2. It feels like you left off from last year. Now,
regression, if anything.
Right. And at the end of the day, it's like, we're paying you a lot of money, and you're highly anticipated, and I'm not a fan of the Panthers, but they have done what they needed to do as far as the GM side, as far as bringing in players. Now, I'm a little biased because I like the kid, but at the end of the day, I am not against any NFL team trying to do the best they can to win. The Panthers want to win now, and they think they can compete in the NFC South. So, I mean, I'm biased to the kid, but I understand the organization. And here's the thing, Ro and Cole, it looks like they made the best decision. Because he comes in there, Dalton comes in there and sets the world on fire, like you said, Ro. So I think the kid, one thing that I do give the Panthers credit, they did come out and say, you know what, we're not trading the kid, and maybe they're trying to light a fire under him. But I cannot be against any organization saying, you know what, we're trying to win now, and we got to make this adjustment. So as much as I'm biased to it, I cannot go against the Panthers. All right, I'm running a little bit over on the NFL, but I got to get this last topic. I'll chop down the NBA a little bit. All right, who impressed you guys in week 3 the most? Let's start with you, Ro. Anybody, and we still got the Monday night games on, but excluding these Monday night games, who impressed you the most in week 3 in the NFL? Whether it be a player or a team.
I
It doesn't
like what King Henry did in Baltimore, man. I like what
Was.
King Henry did
Yeah.
in Baltimore. That really was reminiscent of the old Tennessee days and even Alabama days. I mean, he really made Dallas look bad. That game was nowhere near as close as it ended up being. I watched that
Yeah.
game cover to cover, and
Yeah.
for them to have only won by 3, Dallas, refs, I don't know. Jerry paid for that, but yeah, shout out to King Henry, man. King Derrick Henry did
So
that.
you got Henry. All right, Cole. Who impressed you the most in week 3 so far?
We gonna stick with the former Titans, and I'm gonna say Willis, man. Well, my man Willis is doing that quarterback and just being traded there last minute, starting winning the next 2 games. I felt like even he got the short end of the stick when they started Levis over him. He's playing better than Levis. He looks better than Levis. He looks more composed than Levis. And I'm not even gonna say for Levis. I'm just happy for him. I just hope he gets an opportunity after this year to start somewhere. Or like the perfect team for him is someone who like Brian Dable, who came from Buffalo Bills, and he likes running quarterbacks. I would love to see him get a chance with the Giants. I think he would do well with the Giants.
That might not be bad. Because you got to wonder how long is New York going to stick with who is it? Was it Daniel? What's his last name?
Daniel
Jones. You got to wonder how long they're going to stick with him. I mean, they've been faithful to him, and I don't think he's performed. So that might not be bad. And shout out to you, Cole, because you've always had your eye on Willis. You've always bigged him up on his show. So shout out to you for being consistent. But he did look well. That's why I say that conference, the NFC North, is going to be tough. I'm telling y'all right now. The Packers look good, and Willis is looking good. I think he needs a shot. I think he needs a shot at being a starting quarterback. I know he definitely has the physical tools. For me, who impressed me, I got to go with 2. I'm going to say the Minnesota Vikings. I like the way they look. I like what they did to the Texans yesterday. And I'm a little bit biased, but also this hat sitting here, right here. I love what I saw from the Broncos yesterday. I was down on Bo Nix, and he looked good yesterday. The Broncos surprised me. I didn't think I've been hard on Bo Nix. I've been hard on a lot of these quarterbacks in the draft, but shout out to him, man. The Broncos look like a contender in the AFC West yesterday. They look better than Arizona, and I have Arizona higher than them. I still think Arizona still can be there. I love Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
And if Kyler can stay healthy and continue to get out of that pocket to make plays, I still love Arizona over there. But I gotta say, I got 2. I got Minnesota, and I love the way Minnesota plays, and I got Bo Nix and the Broncos yesterday. The Broncos surprised me yesterday. I was not really anticipating them looking that good. I thought they would, they still might be at the bottom of the NFL, but they looked good yesterday. I have not seen the Broncos look that good on offense in a minute. So shout out to Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. All right. Let me get down. I'll do the throwback NFL topics another time because I do. Well, let me ask y'all this. I'm going to cut down the NBA segment. All right. So I got to know this because nobody ever talks about this when we talk about running backs, but 2 of my favorite running backs. And at their best, let's start with you, Cole. And Chuck, you may want to get in on this, and everybody that's in the chat, get in on this, and you get the like. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. But at their best, in particular, we're being biased to those of us who are 40 plus. This is really a question for you. No disrespect, youngsters, but at their best, who was better? Earl Campbell at the height of his powers, and I know Bo Jackson has a small case study, but think about Bo Jackson at the height of his powers with the Los Angeles Raiders. Let's start with you, Cole. Who do you think was better at their primes, Earl Campbell or Bo Jackson?
To me, and I don't know if I'm biased, but I just think Bo Jackson was the greatest football player I ever seen outside of Lawrence Taylor. I think he's the greatest football player I've ever seen. I've never seen a freak of nature like that with the power.
There's a case for that.
And I just never seen it. So, but to me, I'm just biased. I got to go with Bo Jackson, man.
Easy, huh?
Easy.
Over. Did you see Earl Campbell run?
I seen a little bit of Earl Campbell, but my eyes never fool me when you just see someone like a LeBron James, someone like a Bo Jackson. There's only certain athletes that transcend the time of the sport that they're in.
I got you. Fair statement. Let's go to Ro. You might be a little biased, but who do you think at their best, in their prime, who was better, Earl Campbell, Bo Jackson? And you can comment on the chat too. Those of you who are 40 plus. But go ahead, Ro.
That's so tough, man.
It is
so tough.
It
It's
is.
like I absolutely love both of these guys, man. Like everything that they did, both of them. But I got to go against the grain, man. I'm going against Hiram Clark. I'm sorry. Oilers, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think Bo got to get that nod, man. Because at the same time, you have to understand, Bo ran a lot like Earl Campbell, but with a lot more speed. So it's like the fact that his body didn't hold up is the only question mark, I guess, with that hip injury. And Earl Campbell's durability is off the charts. So it's like it's really a tough call between the two. But it's just, I mean, Bo goes along with that biggest what if in football, period. So I just have to say, at his absolute peak,
yeah.
I mean, Bo was doing things we might not ever see again, to be all the way honest. I mean, we haven't seen again, to be honest, out of an athlete that big.
Right. Maybe the closest thing to a Bo Jackson that maybe, and I'm stepping out on a limb. I know I'm going to get killed. It's maybe Adrian Peterson.
It was close.
Maybe.
Close.
Maybe.
With a little less speed, you're right.
Maybe.
The thing with Earl Campbell, to me, he was probably the nastiest runner. Like when it came to violent runner. Like, I'll give him that. I think he's probably the most violent runner I've seen.
Right.
But
and y'all don't remember this, and that might be a good way to describe it, Cole. But see, for me, for Earl Campbell, it's just like this. I never seen anybody go heads up with Jack Tatum and spin off and survive. Like Earl Campbell survived that. He went head up with Jack Tatum, who almost killed somebody on the field. They met up at the goal line, and usually, like this Jack Tatum, this Earl Campbell, or this is Jack Tatum and anybody, and it's like this. But Earl like did this and flipped over and landed in the end zone. So it's like I gotta give Earl credit. I mean, I'm biased. I'm from Houston. Shout out to Tyler, Texas, too, for the University of Texas.
Question: Is OJ anywhere in this conversation?
No. We talking about power backs. OJ is in the conversation of greatest, but not power backs. But and that's a good point. We'll debate that someday. But you think about Earl Campbell, man. It's like maybe Earl Campbell is more comparable to Jim Brown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Versus Bo Jackson, and I'm gonna have to agree. As much as I don't want to agree on this because I'm trying not to be so biased towards Earl. But Bo Jackson, man, I remember the game that Bo Jackson was running so fast. It was a Monday Night Football game, and he couldn't slow down. And he just ran through the tunnel. And then think about this, and we'll end this topic. I'm going to shut it down with this. The man, did he run a 4.2 at like 215 pounds? Like that's I don't think nobody's ever done that at that size.
Unheard of.
Right. So, yeah, it's Bo Jackson.
Then you combine the infamous Brian Bosworth play.
You know what I'm saying? It's exactly.
Like he ran like Earl Campbell.
Right. It shut the Boz down. I thought Boz was overrated anyway. But thank you, Bo. Thank you, because they was trying to make him the next, I guess, is he before Bill Romanowski? Yeah, well, whatever. They was trying to make him into something. They was having all these ex-Terminator movies about Bosworth. I wouldn't buy it. But anyway, shout out to Boz, man. I just don't think he was good as they made him. All right, let's get to the association. Let's get to it. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for Debate with Bake podcast. Also, go on moserious.com, cop your merch, cop your fragrances. Check us out. We doing something big over here. Let's get to the association. Now, we in the off season, and the season is about to start, like Cole said before we got on the air. But let's get into it. Probably the biggest story currently in the NBA is breaking. Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers have agreed to a 3-year, $192.9 million maximum contract extension. All right. And I think Chuck got a clip for us concerning the Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid. But we're going to talk about that contract situation. Let's take it.
And it's the breaking news we are continuing to monitor here on HQ. Joel Embiid agreeing to a 3-year, $190 million max extension with the 76ers. That's been confirmed by our Bill Ryder. The former MVP is now signed through the 2027/28 season with a player option available to extend it one more year. Embiid entering his 11th season in Philly, ranking top 10 in franchise history in points, rebounds, and blocks. The Sixers open up their season in just over a month when they'll host the Bucks on October 23rd. Embiid taking to Instagram and putting this out for all the masses to be able to see and read. Philadelphia is home. I want to be here for the rest of my career. I love this community and everything you've given me and my family. There is a lot more work to do. You guys deserve a championship, and I think we're just getting started. Hashtag trust the process.
All right, let's get into it, man. I first want to say something about this before I get to the panel. But I mean, shout out to Embiid. The sad part about this situation, and it is something sad about this, is this. Well, I shouldn't say sad. Let me rephrase that. He's so good. He's so talented that they had to give him this money. They had to. And what I mean by that is, and I've said this 1,000 times about Joel Embiid. I mean, he can have games like he did last year, was it the year before, where he can score 70 points easily. But the unfortunate part is he spends most of his off seasons rehabbing versus getting in shape. I've always said this about Embiid. He's that good to the point where I don't think he's putting in enough work in the off season, but because he can score such at a high level and he's so skilled, it looks like he's putting in work in the off season. But what always happens every year? He starts to look good, and then when he starts to overexert himself because he's not in shape, he gets hurt. But he's so talented. He's so talented and he's so good that the Sixers have to do this. When you have this kind of player with this kind of talent level, it's kind of unfortunate because if he was to come in shape, if he was not to rehab in the off season but actually get in shape, it would be outright dangerous what he could do. But the Sixers, I feel like they had to do this. They had to do this because he's so good. He's just so good. But, I'm hoping for the sake of Joel Embiid and even getting another getting another contract and then possibly contending for a championship in Philadelphia, that he comes in shape. But I just feel like it's kind of bittersweet because the guy is so good, you have to sign him to an extension. You have to. You can't let him walk out of Philadelphia because he's that good. But the question is he rehabbing or is he getting in shape? Now, Ro, what's your thoughts on this signing? And then we'll go to Cole after that.
Honestly, I really feel like I have to decipher what was embedded into the IG post that he said thanking the organization, because it was a little cryptic in there, because it kind of put a 3-year shelf life on his career, in my opinion. He might not have but 3 more years. So it's like to say that it's a lot more work to be done, granted, and you eating up a big old chunk. So
eating a lot.
There's not going to be a lot of lateral moves you can make to put concerning the surrounding cast. They just signed Tyrese to a whole lot of bread. I mean, I like it. I love him as a player, like you're saying. He's got a tremendous upside. However, he is just a pace car. He runs out of gas. Is notorious. I mean, he will inevitably run out of gas toward the end of the season. He might get some MVP consideration, and then depending on the type of injury he's looking at with a frame and playing that position like that, I'm telling you, these are career enders. The boys are not quite the same. And we saw him on one leg, and he's better than most on one leg.
He's so good.
He's better than most on one leg.
Right. He's so good. Like he just
you had to do it. They had to do it.
Right. He's that good.
They might be cursed, man. I mean, it just might not be their time yet, because it's like it's going to get worse before it get better.
And consider this, before we get to you, Cole, consider this. I like the audience to consider this. I mean, with them signing PG, with them did they give Tyrese some money?
About that. Yeah, they
gave him some money, and then they're giving him 3 years. That's telling me that Philadelphia is trying to win a championship within the next 3 years, because we don't know how long. PG didn't have that much longer. The fact that they signed him, they're trying to win right now. And then you got this 3-year contract. Now, Tyrese is the future, but they trying to win right now. I think between PG and the B, they're swinging for the fences. You know, so they going for it. You know, hopefully, and I'll go out on a limb like this. If Joel Embiid could get in shape like I know he could, I think they could win a championship. I think he's that good. But I mean, you also got to remember this: like people you got the Knicks sitting over there.
Yep.
You know, you got Boston sitting over there.
Yep.
You know, and say what you want about Indiana, they're surging. You know, and then you know it's going to be somebody in the East that comes out of nowhere. You know, Orlando is surging. You know, so I don't know, but Cole, what do you think about this signing? I mean, you're in that area. Of course, the Knicks are they're in that conference. They're in that division, I believe, as well. What do you think as a competitor to the 76ers? What do you think? Do you agree with this contract? And tell us your thoughts.
I think I agree with the contract because you can't get equal value back if you trade him for anything.
Right.
And at the same time, regardless of him being injured or not, if you just roll the dice that maybe one of these years he's healthy, he can easily carry you to the finals.
Exactly.
He can easily, especially at the trajectory that Maxi's going, and if you could get maybe 1 to 2 healthy years out of Paul George, he doesn't even have to go super hard because they put players like Caleb Martin there to play defense so that he doesn't even have to exert himself all the time. And they picked up another defender as well. I forgot his name, but Philly has a solid team around them, and they picked up that kid from the Olympics that was giving the U.S. a hard time.
Yes, yeah. Is that the French kid? I think. Yeah.
He was holding
He's
himself.
a tough kid. He's a tough, strong kid. Yeah.
Tough, strong kid. Honestly, I get scared a little bit when I think about the matchup with the Knicks. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. I get scared a little bit, but I think it's perfect for them because I think that, you know, when he's at his best, there's nobody in the East that can really handle him.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, like, you know, the thing that bothers me about it, and Rose said it, and you kind of allude to it, it's like Rose made the comment, on one leg, he's better than more than half the people in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, no disrespect to the Knicks or Boston or anybody in the East, but if he's in shape, if he's just halfway in shape, who can stop him? I mean, I even go out on a limb, like, I've said this before, and me and Cole have gone back and forth about this, but the thing about it is that Jokic is going to show up in shape. Jokic is going to show up ready to go. And we've seen the best of Jokic. Well, not the best, but we've seen primetime Jokic. We've seen Jokic take over.
Upside.
Right. Yeah. But if Embiid, have we seen prime Embiid yet? Because he's always hurt. And Jokic always outplays him because he's never healthy. You know, I can't sit here and say that Jokic is better. I can because Jokic has a better track record. But then again, Jokic is healthy. Embiid is never healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so to me, it's like, for me, Embiid has always been, he should be a better version of Elijah Wan to me. He should be prime Elijah Wan at 7 foot tall.
He the Bo Jackson of the NBA.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about Elijah Wan. Me and Cole was talking about it before you pulled up, Ro, but prime Elijah Wan, I mean, isn't that what Joel Embiid should be?
He's got
at least a version, maybe even better because he's bigger. You know, so, you know, it's like with Embiid, it's like I used to tell Cole when we was back in school. If LeBron ever wakes up one day and says, you know what? I'm just going to go take over the league. There's nothing anybody could have done to stop him physically. You know, LeBron doesn't have that nature of a Kobe or Jordan. And I used to tell Cole that if he ever woke up one day and said, you know what, I'm tired of passing the ball. Like I mean, I'm still going to pass the ball, but I'm going to take over the league. There's nothing nobody could have done.
Used to call him Neo from the Matrix.
Yeah.
He's Neo.
I say it all the time. And me and Cole would always go back and forth. And Cole, I couldn't even argue with him because Cole be like, hey man, Wade is doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But LeBron, we keep waiting and waiting. But I'm like, Cole, if he ever wakes up one day and say, you know what, I'm just going to take over the league. There's nothing, nobody could do anything with him. I feel the same way about Joel Embiid. You know, as great as Jokic is, defensively, Jokic doesn't compare to Embiid, but we haven't got a consistent case study from Embiid being
when
healthy.
I look at Embiid, I think about freaking Anthony Davis, man.
Yeah,
Every
Right.
single time Embiid falls, I'm like, he just broke his hand. He just
Yep.
broke his foot. He just
And
broke his
Anthony Davis, when they won the bubble chip, it's because he decided to take over.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why the Lakers keep backing him, because if he decides to do that, they win. You know, but it's all about, you got to have that dog in you with Anthony Davis. All right, let's go to a little bit of I'm going to pick you guys' brain on this. Who is the greatest pure scorer of all time out of these options? Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Melo, or Durant? Let's start with you, Cole. Pure scorer. And I know we could throw other people in there, but let's stick with these four. Who is the greatest pure scorer of all time, Cole?
Michael Jordan. It has to be Michael Jordan, but easiest scorer would have been Durant. But Michael Jordan is the greatest. There was nothing. He had a counter for everything. If you can't,
Now, Cole, we talking about score. When we talking about scoring, yeah, you're right. Who could light it up? But there's also a skill set involved in that too. Who is the purest scorer? You still rocking with Mike?
I still rock with Mike because he could beat you in so many different ways. He had a better post game than all those dudes on that you just named. He's a two guard.
Hold
Whoa. I feel a little bit of Nick bias because maybe he used to give it to y'all the most. He rocking with MJ.
He's the art of the fadeaway. No one ever had a. He was.
You don't think Kobe adopted that?
Huh?
You don't think Kobe adopted that? That same fadeaway?
But who he adopted from?
Let me ask you this, because I know what you're saying in terms of, like, say what you want about skill. Michael Jordan could score 60 points whenever he wanted to, but consider the skill. I mean, he don't have a better. Only difference between him and Kobe is I think Kobe had a better handle. Now Jordan's hands were bigger; he could do more with the ball. But even Melo, you know. But think about Durant. Think about Durant. Like 7 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a handle like Kobe. He can pull up from threes in the fast break. He can post up. Now, granted, is his post game as good as Mike's? Debatable. But you still say Mike, and think about the skill set. You still say Mike is better than all three of these guys. Scoring, pure score.
Pure score.
Now, if you take away Mike's fadeaway in the 15 foot, because Mike was people don't realize this, and I try to tell these youngsters this nowadays. It's so hard to guard somebody that can just pull up from anywhere. That was Mike crown jewel. He could pull up from anywhere. You didn't know when he was going to pull up. I mean, let's be honest. The thing about Michael Jordan is his greatest weapon was his 15-foot pull-up game from anywhere. And then he mastered the fade with it.
But you know what else he mastered? He mastered always getting to that spot. He had spots on the floor that you just knew. When he got to a spot, I don't think anyone did it better than him. The only modern day NBA player that gets to a spot like that I could think of is Kawhi Leonard. Like, he gets to a spot.
Y'all might be sleeping on Melo.
Y'all
might be sleeping on Melo.
I'm all over that. I'm
talking about getting to a spot, fam. We're talking about booking.
And Melo's 6'10".
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah. Melo could just score.
But see, here's the thing. In defense of Cole, I see what Cole is saying. Not so much skill-wise, but if you think about Michael Jordan, he's probably the most least skilled on this list when you talk about skilled out of all these guys. But then again, that's kind of what makes you a pure scorer, because he could get 65 points. He could, like, think about this. Michael Jordan is one of the few people who averaged.
Jordan got more heart than
No. But hold on.
That's the difference.
No. But hold on, because in Cole's defense, the numbers. I don't think it's maybe been him and one other person that's averaged 40 points in the finals. He averaged 40 points. Now, they don't look as easy as what Durant, Melo, they make it look easy. But think about that. Jordan's one of the few people, whether he's skilled or not. That's why I can understand what Cole is saying.
But add to the fact
to get you 40 in the finals.
But add to the fact that he was Defensive Player of the Year in some of the years that he won the scoring title. You know how much energy you're exerting to do those things? Like, all these scorers don't play defense.
But we're talking about scoring, though, Cole. But let's go to Roll, because Roll over here itching about this Melo thing.
Yeah, no, I got to go ahead with Melo. Like, in terms of just being
pure scorer skill.
A pure scorer and savant. Like I said, it's like he's easily got a better post game than anybody on that list. He was hell on the block. Melo was strong as I don't know what. And
I felt that.
On top of that, like I said, with a feathery jump shooter and then getting to different spots. I mean, that's all the boy did was dope. I mean, that's granted, it's a lot more than that. We alluded to that with Mike in the Mike conversation, but nah, you talking about a score, boring, and just it's like I saw it that first year in Syracuse, man. That boy is incredible.
I experienced it.
That boy is incredible.
Yeah,
you know
I
what I'm saying?
experienced it.
Melo was incredible. He was always a freak. Because like Durant, at 7 foot, you would think he had a lot of bunnies and his turnaround game or just something would be a little more lethal. But Durant got to work and it's great, sure, but pure scorer. Like
Because it's subjective too, because it also depends on what you value. Like, I think y'all all sleeping on Mr. Bryant. And the reason why I say that is because do you know how hard it is to score 81 points as a guard? And they set him down after 3 quarters. Like, y'all got to remember, man, like, and to me, Kobe is Jordan 2.0, but I think Kobe had a better handle than Jordan. But think about this, man. 81 points, pretty much all from the perimeter. I mean, you got some mix in with free throws and post-up games and all that, but man, like, and then you got to think about this about Kobe. Like Jordan had a superpower. Jordan had huge hands. Jordan do all this with the ball. Melo was 6'10", strong. Durant, 7 foot. Kobe is the only one on this list who doesn't have a superpower. Like, Kobe is a good athlete. I mean, well, maybe a great athlete, but the amount of work that he put in.
That nigga brain was his superpower. That nigga was.
And that's what I'm saying. You got to think about, like, Kobe. We talk about purest scorer. Like, pure. It's a tough debate, but I'm going to rock with Mr. Bryant, man. I mean, 81 points at 6'6", 6'7". And then here's the thing. That was the third quarter. They took him out of the game. I don't know, man. Don't sleep on the Mamba. But you know what? Y'all all make great points. I definitely see what Cole's saying, though, because the man averaged 40 points in the finals, brother. Like, and it wasn't the most skilled. That's the thing incredible about Mike. It was, to Chuck's point, it was more will. But Mike was a freakish athlete, but it was will. And then when Mike developed that jump shot, it was like, what can you do? Like, for me, they're like, it makes sense that Michael Jordan dominated the 90s because think about 80s Jordan. That's what Cole talking about with the energy. And then when he added the skill just with the 15-foot pull-up, it was like, what can you do with somebody with that kind of energy? And now he can shoot. He can shoot.
But the other piece too, he played in the era where there was hand checking.
And then I was about to say that. Hold on. And if you think about his maturation process going through Detroit, how he had to adapt his game, I can see where Cole is saying he's got to be the best scorer, purest scorer of all time. It's worth the debate.
If he played in this generation with no hand checking, God knows what Michael Jordan would have done to these boys, man. I couldn't imagine you can't hand check Michael. The way he would hang in the air, change his shot, oh man.
All right, let's go to one more question in the association, then we'll move on, man. All right, one gotta go. Kevin Love, Amari Stoudemire, Chris Bosh, Blake Griffin. One gotta go. Let's go, Cole. Let's start with you. One gotta go. Because I'm thinking about in the 2000s, these are probably the best power forwards in the game.
Blake Griffin, man. Blake Griffin has to go. Blake Griffin has to go. I'm starting Amari. I'm bringing Love off the bench.
And then so you saying it's out of Bosh and Griffin got to go. Why Griffin got to go?
Because I think he's the least skilled of the two. I think he's the most athletic, but the least skilled.
Okay. So at that time, for these power forwards, you saying, okay. So
Love
Blake
was a better rebounder. Amari was more dominant, the better scorer than both, but Love can actually score. I remember Love was actually putting up 40-point games a night in, night out at power forward.
And I don't disagree with that. People sleep on the Minnesota Kevin Love was nice, boy. Triple-double machine?
Yep.
All right, Ro, who got to go?
I'm gunning for seat, man. I got to cut Chris Bosh, man.
And I thought that too. Tell me why.
It's controversial.
Oh, I didn't hear Chris Bosh, but I would have still.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have dropped Chris Bosh though. I would have dropped Blake. Yeah.
It's controversial, and it's like his track record is proven, and his value is even proven. However, I don't know. That dog don't hunt, man. I don't know, man. I get rid of Chris Bosh.
But you got to give us a reason why, Ro. It's something about Bosh that don't vibe with you well.
That nigga face. I don't like this nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sorry. My fault. No hate for Chris Bosh. You a G, dog. But nah, man. It's like you were fortunate. You were fortunate on a banana boat train to get on out of Toronto and find that home hotel with D Wade and Bron. That was the best thing could have happened to you.
Hey, okay, all right. all right.
That nigga face was low. My fault. That was uncalled for, bro. That was uncalled for.
I feel you because I ain't like him with the Wesley Snipes dread. The little Wesley Snipes, he made me mad with that. I ain't gonna lie. Him and Tim Duncan, man, they killed me, man, with them hairlines. But you know what? I thought about that. Look, I'm gonna say this. Kevin Love and Amari Stoudemire definitely got to stay. Stoudemire, I mean, come on, man. Stoudemire, and probably his best stop was in Phoenix and New York. So I think those two. It's out of Bosh and Griffin. Now, let's remove Miami Bosh. Let's go Toronto Bosh versus LA Clipper Blake Griffin. That's what I'm looking at. And I'm saying to myself, who's got to go? LA Clipper Blake Griffin, slam dunk machine. They kind of underachieved for me in Lob City. Yeah. They kind of underachieved though for me in Lob City.
Kobe, though, like.
Yeah, that's true. But as much hype as it is, and I could put some of that on Chris Paul. Because say what you want about Chris Paul. Is he one of the better point guards of all time? Yes. Is he the first ballot Hall of Famer? Yes. But he did not win. And people can say whatever they want, but he didn't win. You know. So I don't know, man. It's a tough one. And I kind of feel for Bosh in Toronto because it wasn't nothing up there with him. I don't know, man. One of them two got to go. Blake. Man, is Blake a Hall of Famer? Now remember, it's not NBA.
Not first ballot.
It's basketball Hall of Fame. Is he a Hall of Famer? Period. Did he do anything to put him in the Hall of Fame?
Did they win a chip at OU?
Nah.
They got close. I think they went to the Final Four.
Yeah, because he had his brother playing with him.
Yeah.
Did he crumb one of them chips late on in his career off the bench somewhere? He had some playoff runs. I guess he was.
He was with Boston and Brooklyn, but I don't think he was on either one of them squads that got a ring. I don't think Brooklyn didn't get a ring. Period.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the boy went outside and thought about it. Man, Blake got it. So I ain't.
Cole, you think Blake is a Hall of Famer?
I don't.
It's hard. Because it's nothing that he did that, I don't know, man, other than leading an era as far as Lob City. Did he do anything historic in NBA?
I don't.
Has he ever had a monster season or monster game or monster stat? I mean, we could say that. See, the thing about it is
close.
Huh?
He and Amari are close in terms of like their impact.
I can't say he's close to
that, bro. That was listen to me. That was one point in the game where I thought Amari Stoudemire was the best power forward in the game in Phoenix.
Between New York and Phoenix, well, I'd say both. Arguably both.
I can't say. Is it a hands down year other than Lob City that Blake? You could say Blake was the best power forward in the league.
Never.
See, that's what.
The reason why I can't say he's a Hall of Famer is because I can't say
he didn't do anything historic.
He's not better than a couple power forwards in the game today.
Exactly. He didn't do anything other than the Lob City. Like he ain't had a monster 30-point rebound game that we remember. He didn't have a stretch where he was like, I mean, he might have been NBA Player of the Week, but was he ever in a run for a most valuable player? I mean, he was an all-star, but other than that, did he do anything that stood out? Now, he probably has to go because Bosh did get championships down in Miami. Even though we might not think Bosch was a major cog,
But Bosch was
Bosch-
nice, yo. Bosch
he
was nice.
was. He was.
he
He was a
just-
matchup problem. He was. He
Yeah,
was a
he
matchup.
just had that heart condition, yo. Because
Now-
otherwise, he would have been a Hall of Famer hands down.
Let me give y'all some stats, right? Give y'all some stats. Chris Bosh and Blake Griffin season stats. So they both averaged 19 points,
Okay.
right? They both averaged 8 rebounds.
So they similar.
They very
So we
similar.
got it right that
The only
those
thing
two are the
is,
last two.
At the end of the day, Bosh got more though. So total
And Bosch got a championship. He got
got 2 chips.
Yeah.
Total points 17,000 compared to Blake's 14,000.
So it's Blake that's got to go.
Total rebounds
Blake got to go.
7,500 compared to
And Blake
6,100.
And Blake was undersized. He was athletic though.
You
Go
wanna
ahead.
know Blake's tier for me is more so Vin Baker and McDyess. I don't even think Blake was better than Zebo.
I don't think he was better than McDyess or
That's-
Ben Baker either.
But I think,
It wasn't too many better than Zebo.
Both those players, Vin Baker and McDyess, were great in the early years, and then the injuries brought them down. Same thing with Blake; those knee injuries brought him down. I think they were.
You might
great.
have a point there. You might have a point there.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. There was never a time for me where I thought Blake Griffin was the best power forward in the NBA by far. I never thought that about him.
And his game never developed. He never
Exactly.
developed.
It was just all athleticism.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know.
I'll take Zebo in a heartbeat over him, yo.
Right. Like Blake might be that version of Sean Kemp in Seattle. Because Sean Kemp, who
Tom Chambers
needed the loss.
He needed to last, but he had about a good 4 or 5 years where he was down. That's probably what Blake was doing too, you know. So yeah, I think Blake has got to go. I think Blake got to go. I really do. I as much as I love the highlight film, what did he do that was legendary? All right, let's get to boxing and let's get our shout outs and let's get out of here, man. Everybody, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Follow DWB Debate with Bait podcast on MoSerious.com. Check us out, the Sports Center of Most Serious. And shout out to Underdog Fantasy. You need to bring us on because we helping you out. All right, let's get into boxing. And matter of fact, Chuck, while you at it, while we get into boxing, give me a game check, Chuck. Give me a score on the game whenever you get a chance. All right, let's get to boxing. Let's get to boxing. You know, y'all know I love boxing. You know I'm loyal to boxing. But let me ask this question because this is, for me, this question is kind of dictating where does boxing go next? Who is the next star? Which international star would sell the most tickets if they fought in England? Canelo Alvarez, Gervonta Tank Davis, or Naoya Inoue? Pound for pound list fighters. Let's go with you, Ro. Who would sell in England? Now, that's the UK, if I'm correct, right? I always mess that up. I don't know why I messed that up. But if you took all three of them to the UK, who do you think sells the most tickets? Go ahead. Go ahead, Cole.
I'm gonna say Inoue. I think there's more Asians on this planet than anything else. So, and I'm not even trying to be funny, but it's the truth. So I think that he'd probably sell the most.
Now, you think Inoue? All right. Let me follow up with this question. So you agree that he would make more tickets in England because of the Asian population? Mm-hmm. Do you think he's more of an international star than Canelo Alvarez and Gervonta Davis? Period. Not England, just period.
I think they're both more of a star than Gervonta right now.
Okay.
And I love Gervonta, but Canelo's Canelo. You know, in the North America, ain't no one to get more views than Canelo. Even though Gervonta's on his way up, I will say. But in a way, like I said, when there's not a lot of Asians in boxing. So you couple that with the fact that the Asian population is probably the most populated in the world. You know, I think he will get a lot of viewings, especially if he got the right match. There's going to be a lot of Asians on his side.
So you think in England he would sell the most tickets? All right. I mean, you make a convincing case. What do you think, bro?
Yeah, my thing across the pond for the stuffy Brits. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know. I just saw Anthony Davis get knocked. I mean, not Anthony Davis. Bless his heart. I I just saw Joshua. What was
Yeah,
it? Anthony Joshua getting
It's like, shout out to Daniel Dubois for that.
They do a little bit better. They got some exciting fighters over there. So I was gonna say, as far as Gervonta's last few outings go, he's got the sizzle, man. He's a big time finisher. He puts butts in seats. And I would feel more comfortable putting the product out there like that because you're going to get something going to happen in grand fashion. It's going to be highly anticipated. I mean, I'm not sure how well they do with the antics and the outside stuff that doesn't matter at the weigh-ins and things like that. But as far as putting the product in front of everybody that could sell, yeah, he'd sell well in England.
You think so? You saying Tank?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That and you know what? You brought up a good point. Let's talk about that because that's a good point. Now, Joshua's the biggest star in the UK, okay? And Joshua's got a lot of appeal, in particular because he's got muscles and the women love him. You know what I'm saying? He sells in the UK. I think they had like 98,000 at that fight yesterday. I mean, on the Saturday with Dubai. So you think Tank will sell because of the knockouts?
The way the finisher that
he is, that he was selling in the UK. That's a valid point because you can sell knockouts. Mm-hmm. You can sell knockouts. I'm agree with both of y'all. I think it's those two in particular because both of them do knock people out. Mm-hmm. Canelo, he's still a face of boxing in North America, because of the Hispanic, population.
Well,
and
fan base can't afford to get over there watch no fight.
Man, he took a shot at y'all, man. But I mean, to that point, I do think both of y'all got a point. Because both of them are knocking people out. I think Inoue probably has a better chance because Inoue is probably more accomplished than Gervonta Tank Davis. But you also got to look at this. In the UK, much like America, Gervonta probably could sell more because of the story. The UK, much like America, loves an underdog. Gervonta comes from Baltimore.
Nothing in Baltimore.
You know what I'm saying? That probably would sell, but I do get the international appeal of Inoue because Inoue has sold more. Inoue has accomplished more. He's more of an accomplished star than Gervonta. So it to me is out of those two. I can't pick, man, because Gervonta. The thing about Gervonta, well, let me say this: I can't because Gervonta's competition ain't been up there, but neither has Inoue. Because even though Inoue is undisputed, 2-time undisputed, like who's he knocking out?
He's had the benefit of just really having a clean slate.
Right. And at the end of the day, like I tell people all the time, people always compare Inoue and Terrence Crawford on that pound for pound list. My question to them is this: who's Inoue Earl Spence? You know what I'm saying? Who did Inoue fight that people thought he could lose to? And that's not his fault. It's the lower weight classes. You know what I'm saying? But people can say the same thing about Tank. Tank ain't fault.
And a couple of those guys have had him in trouble too. I've seen Inoue go through some.
Well, I mean, Neri knocked him down, but really, I mean, but who's his Earl Spence? Who's his big? I don't know. It's between those two. I don't know. I just thought it'd be a good question because y'all both make great points. All right, if you were a fighter, who would you choose as a trainer today? Calvin Ford, trainer of Tank Davis, Derek James, trainer of Earl Spence, Jamel Charlo, and Frank. Bomac, of course, is famous for Terrence Bud Crawford. Eddie Reynoso, who's famous for Canelo Alvarez. Ro, let's start with you. Who would you pick?
Bomac, man, we old school.
Bomac.
Yeah, buddy.
You said that pretty easy, right?
Yeah, buddy.
Bomac, okay.
We're not spending no time up there with Derek James. You know what I'm saying? I just refuse. We don't even have to run the tape back.
Listen, because Spence looked that bad, man. Come on, man. Bro, when you gonna let that go, man? Come on, man.
I can't. Like Anthony Hamilton, no matter what the people say, I can't let go. Like Anthony Hamilton said, "No, man, Derek James count is a little tainted. You got that Garcia coming out. No, I ain't with it. Anthony Joshua, you see them boys all about by the wayside.
Yeah.
It's like
Charlo got mopped by Canelo.
Man, them boys looking awful radioactive out there. I ain't fooling with Derek James, man. Bomac got it. I'm telling you, that's old school. That's from Nebraska wood chopping. with Hale Bay throwing. Ain't no telling him what he gonna have you out there doing, but you come in camp in shape. You gonna come in forwards. Your hair gonna be grown out. You ain't finna shave. That boy had you in a real camp. You understand what I'm saying? So Bo Mac all day, man, easy. Final answer.
Easy work. Easy work. All right, Cole, let's go, man. Let's go, Cole. What you got, man?
I'll probably go with Canelo's. With Canelo's, man.
So tell us why.
Because just for Canelo to fight so many different weight classes and prepare him for that, and then on top of that, for the amount of fights that he's fought and the consistency of his greatness, I think I would have to go with him.
Okay.
Because to keep an athlete consistent with, dieting, working out,
and you know what? That's a good point. But the only let me play devil's advocate with Eddie Reynoso. They got a stable of fighters over there, but nobody's been able to accomplish what Canelo has accomplished. Like Bo Mac, of course, ain't nobody accomplished what Terrence is accomplished over there. But Bo Mac got a couple of guys that are undefeated over there you just haven't heard about. That's the only thing about Reynoso. It hasn't really translated to any other fighter. Same thing with Calvin Ford. Other than Tank, that camp is not really, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just playing devil's advocate. Your choice
is a valid statement, but I think that people hitch their careers onto players sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's all sports. I think that you can find that one player you hit your career on. You look at Christian Laettner with Mike Krzyzewski. It made him who he was. That it was Christian Laettner who made him.
Christian Laettner got a lot. To your credit, Christian Laettner got a lot of people to Duke. You know what I'm saying, to come to Duke because of that. So that's a good point. I probably would have to ride with Bo Mac simply because the thing about it, man, and I don't even know if I can give this responsibility to the trainer. We just ain't seen Terrence Crawford look bad. Like we ain't never seen him fall off. Even his last fight, even though he didn't get the knockout, he traveled up another weight class, but we ain't never seen him not prepared. We ain't never seen him out of shape. You know what I'm saying? And same thing. I mean, we saw Canelo not look great, still win, but we just never seen Terrence. Just never seen him out of the loop with anything. It seemed like they're constant professionals over there with Bo Mac, and they always in shape. So I'm gonna ride with Bo Mac. All right. One more thing, and we out of here. Are Aaron Judge, since people say I don't talk about baseball, is Aaron Judge and Ohtani, I cannot say that kid's name in LA, the two best baseball players in the world. Go ahead, Ro.
I like Ohtani there, and right now the Judge is certainly hitting like one of the best I've ever seen. So yeah, I really don't have too big a problem with that statement.
Cole?
I would say Ohtani for sure, yes. Judge is up there, but up until his injury, the two MVPs was either Lindor or or Ohtani. Okay. I have no problem with anyone saying Judge though, because I think he's good at his craft and what he does. I also think what's his name got injured too, Acuna with the Braves, who is also a great baseball player. So I think it's debatable on who's 2, 3, and 4.
And I also would add this: Ohtani's teammate, man, was it Betts?
Yeah,
Mookie solid.
I think he's always got to be in the top 3, top 5 players in baseball. But I would say currently, because of what Judge is doing, I think it's no brainer with Ohtani. But I think because of what Judge is doing, this could be an accurate statement, But let's see, man. Baseball is getting excited in October. All right, let's get out of here. Let's give our shout outs. All right, I want to give a shout out to the following Black NFL minority owners. Check this out. I did research on this. Serena Williams with the Dolphins, Venus Williams with the Dolphins, Lewis Hamilton with the Broncos, Condoleezza Rice. Can you believe that is a minority owner of the Denver Broncos? Melody Hobson, Broncos, John Starworth, Steelers, Magic Johnson, one of the best businessmen of our time with the Washington Commanders, Rashawn Williams with the Falcons, Warwick Dunn with the Falcons. These are minority owners of NFL teams.
Dominique Dawes?
Yes, Will Packer with the Falcons, Dominique Dawes with the Falcons, and Rosalind Brewer. So shout out to these names for being Black
Trailblazers.
NFL minority owners, is particular this season. All right, shout out to, did my research on this too, both Panther and Raider organizations yesterday for having, for the first time, 2 women presidents go head-to-head in an NFL game. Sandra Douglas Morgan with the Las Vegas Raiders and Christy Coleman of the Carolina Panthers. So the NFL doing a good job of allowing women to come in the game and have a direct, immediate impact at the president position. Shout out to the Raiders and the Panthers for that. Shout out to Colorado's Travis Hunter for continuing to impact the ball on both sides versus Baylor this past weekend. On offense, he had 7 receptions for 130 yards. On defense, he had the game-winning forced fumble. Sometimes it's hard for me to even believe when I watch Travis Hunter, man. It's unbelievable. And then shout out to Kansas City Chief head coach Andy Reid for becoming the only NFL head coach to have 130 wins with 2 teams. With the Eagles, he was 130, 93-1. With the Chiefs, the current team he's coaching now, he's 130 and 51. That might not even be including yesterday's game. He might be 131. So shout out to Andy Reid, man.
The future.
Yeah, and you know what? He could possibly go down as the greatest NFL.
And Belichick, who's better?
Right. Out of him and Belichick, who's better? It might. I don't know, man. Both got cases. I mean, here's the thing about it. We only have one case study with Belichick. He was successful in New England.
Mm-hmm.
But the system that was put together for him being GM and all that, and it makes you wonder why teams are not hiring Belichick, because he's got to have it the way he had it in New England. And I don't think everybody's going for that. I don't think everybody wants him to be the GM and be in charge. Mm-hmm. And plus, he's had the best quarterback, arguably, of all time. He's not my GOAT, but some people would consider him the GOAT. For me, it's Andy Reid, just because everywhere he's gone, he's won. You know, and Andy Reid has not necessarily had a Patrick Mahomes. He had Donovan McNabb. He had a series of things. So you can actually look at Andy Reid and say, you know what? He has a direct impact on whoever he's coaching, regardless who's out there. So it's up for debate. Some people could debate that, because you can't argue with Belichick as much as he won. Mm-hmm. I don't care what nobody says. As much as he's won, he's got to be up there.
I think players develop better under Reid, and in some kind of way, Belichick gets the most out of his players.
And that's a fair statement. That's a fair statement. But that's my shout out, gentlemen. Do y'all got any shout outs before we get up out of here?
I got 2 shots. One to Malik Willis. I want to say congrats for his, I want to say, comeback into relevancy. And congrats to Caitlin Clark, man, for winning Rookie of the Year in the WNBA, for being 4th in MVP voting as well. And, you know, just for her team making the playoffs in that big turnaround for the Fever. So congrats to Caitlin Clark.
You're not going to let that go, bro.
I'm giving her props.
Not going to let that go. Shout out to Caitlin.
I'm surprised you ain't giving props for that.
No, I give her props. Because here's the thing. I'm not mad at her. You know what I'm saying? Because she's done nothing wrong. I give her a lot of credit. And it's not her fault that I'm not necessarily criticizing her, because she has done nothing wrong. She has done everything she's supposed to do and more. I just think people put too much on her in terms of her and Reese, in terms of there's a lot of other players that have been doing great. And it's not their fault. It's not Reese and Clark's fault. I'm not blaming them. But I just think it's wrong for the WNBA. It's their fault that they haven't been pushing Asia. And that girl down in Dallas, I don't know what she's an African girl. That girl is unbelievable. I can't think of her name.
Arike?
Yeah, unbelievable. But shame on the WNBA. Like, it takes 2 girls, one from the rural and one from the city, to come in, like Magic and Bird, and bring eyes to the game. It's an indictment on the WNBA to me. You know what I'm saying?
Watch Stephen A. Watch Stephen A. and what you call from this morning show. If you get an opportunity to go back on YouTube and watch the show, a big part of the debate was this Caitlin Clark, and I think people are arguing the wrong thing.
They are.
I totally get the piece of where everyone's saying, "Hey, there's people that came before and did this, yes, and yes." But then there's that piece where it says marketability, like being able to sell.
Right. And you're right. That's what I'm saying. And I think probably I should do a better job. I'm not mad at them. I'm really mad at the WNBA, because at the end of the day, there were stars there that you guys didn't push enough. Now, shout out to these young 2 kids coming in, because it's great for the game in terms of, and you know what Angel did and what Caitlin did in the college game?
Yeah.
They created heroes and villains.
Yeah.
Just like Magic and Bird. And that's what the women's game has been needed. Now everybody's going to follow those two. And guess what? If they can come together and do a championship, think about how much money that would make if they both make the championship against each other. So I'm really mad at the WNBA for not pushing those other girls. But anyway, Ro, you got any shout outs before we get up out of here?
Yeah, definitely, man. Shout out again to Asia, man. It was a fitting queen for all the court gathering together and all the new eyes and attention being turned on to him with the two youngsters like we've been talking about.
Right.
Here's take my hat off to a real queen in the game. They're doing thing with great style. And her little cute teammate, that Kelsey Plum, a bad little thing too, boy. That Kelsey Plum, nice. So, yeah, shout out to the Aces, Las Vegas. I don't know how many they won, how many they gone, but hey, you got it.
That's why we always got to go out on the comic relief, man. Shout out to Chuck. Shout out to the audience, man. Shout out to my man Cole rocking out with us. I know you're hour ahead on the East Coast. Shout out to the chat, man. Shout out to the Mo Serious family. And shout out to everybody who supports Debate with Bake. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Show support for your sports center of MoSerious.com. Make sure you go to MoSerious.com to check out the whole family, Chuck, gloves up, guns down, the merchandise, the fragrances, everything that we got going on at MoSerious.com. Shout out to Mo City, the city we come from, right outside of Houston, Texas. We still are a part of Houston, Texas. But shout out to everybody who follows us. Shout out to Chuck. Shout out to the First Lady of Mo Serious. Everybody that's behind this whole thing, DWB, we are moving, we are going. And shout out to everybody. Peace. Hit us up.
Season 3, Debate with Bake Sports Show. We coming live from the Mo. You know how we go. We talking basketball, football, and boxing. You got something to say, man? Jump up in them comments. We gon' keep it real with opinions and facts. Let's look at the stats. Well, that settles that. It ain't no hating. We just debating, interviewing guests so we can learn how they operating. Give you our perspective in a way that's captivating. Another sports show to put in your rotation. See, Bake choose the topics, everybody looking. Laro got the commentary and he keep it cooking. Cole with the game, he coming live from Brooklyn. You know, it's the most serious production. We giving game free, so tap in and see. Season 3, DWB, MSC.
Yo, he already